Welcome to CrossYoga. Today I'm going to guide you through a slow class, it's called. It means that we have more time to spend in each posture to breathe and kind of settle in and ground ourselves. I'll also guide you through what I call self-assists. So I might ask you to bring your hands on your thigh or shoulders, something like that, to help you into a better alignment. If you happen to have a strap or a scarf or something nearby, bring that along. Maybe you'll use it, maybe not. Find that comfortable seat and we'll breathe, and I'll share a short story from the Bible, as this is Christian yoga for everybody. So welcome. Sit however it feels comfortable for you, with sitting bones grounded in the mat and a tall spine. Relax your face and your jaw. And maybe you sigh out a couple of times. Surrender what you want to surrender today, or letting go. And then start to breathe slow. In and out through your nose if you can. And if you want to pay extra attention to your belly breath, you might bring one hand on your navel belly button and one on top of it, and just kind of sit here and notice the movement of the belly as you inhale and exhale. Really filling the lungs with air, deep inhales. Maybe breathing in a little bit longer than you normally would. And slowing out your exhale, of course, without feeling dizzy at all. And just listen to a story or a parable, you might call it, from the Bible. It's Jesus talking to some people, and he just shared this picture. No one sews a patch of unshrunk clothes to an old garment, for the patch will pull away from a garment and make the tear worse. Neither do men pour new wine into old wineskins. If they do, the skin will burst, the wine will be run out, and the wineskins will be ruined. No, they pour new wine into new wineskins, and both are preserved. Picture a pair of pants that you might have had, or whatever, that you sewed on a patch. And if the fabric is not the same, if the clothes is too old and the new patch is too strong, it will just make the hole worse. And back in the days, they used wineskin because new skin could expand, and as the wine grew older and all, it would expand, and the skin would expand with it. But it was too old. It could not expand in the same way, so it would be ruined. You might move a little bit gently as you have this story in your mind, if there's anything that story just speaks to you out of the blue, so to say. Of course, at any time, if you need to extend your legs, you can do so. But I'm gonna stay in this posture because it works for me. And then you can bring your right hand to the side. I'm mirroring you, and the left arm up overhead. We're gonna go into our spine. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, you're gonna lean over your right knee to some degree. Bring the left hand in the direction of the right knee. Inhale up into your side bend. Maybe gaze up, maybe the elbow back. Exhale, lean forward. Don't go into full range of motion. We are warming up. And don't overthink this movement. Just create some sort of movement in your spine and in your left side. Last time down and up. And we switch to the other side. And actually you might bring your right hand on your shoulder and bring it slightly back so you have this space in front of your chest. And then go for the side bend, inhale. And exhale, lean over towards your left knee. Right arm up, inhale, create space in your chest. Exhale, lean forward. Welcome to close your eyes. If I'm not saying anything, just continue with what I have you into already. Last time. And windmill the arms up. You might wiggle your wrists and slowly bring your legs back. Hands to the top end of the mat. Spread your fingers out, maybe the pinky finger to the edge of the mat so you have that distance in between your hands. Bring the knees off, hip up and back, and move those legs one at a time. Creating some circulation, blood flow after staying seated for a while. Create a wave, kind of. As you move into your plank, you might inhale. Use plank on toes or knees, whatever you prefer. Bend your knees, bring the hips up and back. Exhale, downward facing dog. That hip up and back. Don't force the heels down. Continue with that. Inhale, plank. And exhale, hip up and back. Focusing on alignment in the hip rather than extending the knees completely. Again, plank. Shoulders nice and strong. Downward facing dog. Exhale. 2 more times. Always moving slow. Because we need maybe to change some patterns that we have in our everyday life. And to me, the story, as you walk to the front, to me, the story reminds me of changing maybe some old patterns that are not useful anymore. Rise into your mountain pose. And even though we're moving slow for the most part of this movie, I was about to say, this session, we will have a little bit of a warm-up sequence. Bring the arms up overhead. By the ears, sit down in your chair. swing the arms back without moving your spine. Shoulder blades back and then into your chair again. Stretch your legs and fold forward. Halfway lift. Right foot, bring it up. You might move your ankle on the right foot a little bit. Before you extend it out, lower it down to the back of the mat. Pivot the foot for that warrior two. So the right foot, toes point in the direction of right side. Front knee over ankle. And here you can kind of bring your front hand down on your knee and maybe you move it. You stay where you are. Maybe you move the knee slightly over the ankle, noticing if it tends to drop in, and it does that for many of us. So try to see if you can align knee over ankle. Belly button in, slowly lean forward. Maybe you take the front hand on the outside of the thigh. Other direction. Knees, legs stay. You just move back. From there, bring your hands into prayer. You can't see it, but you can see it in a moment, because you can stay with your feet, but try to do a little bit of rotation in your spine as you to some degree turn your shoulders towards the short end of the mat. Staying super long. You might take a hold of your top hair here. Move it up so you have this length in your spine. Breathe. Bring both hands down to the inside of the front foot. Peel the back heel off. Step back into plank. Stay here for a breath or go to your down dog. If you don't want to bring your knees down, elbows in and lower down to a hover over the mat before you then lift into a cobra, maybe a baby cobra. Lift through the arms, tuck your toes, down dog. To the front again. We'll go through the sequence a total of 4 times, 2 on each side. Sweep the arms up overhead, big circle. Sit down in your chair. Maybe low, maybe not so much. Bring the arms down and back. And before you continue, bring your hands to your hip and notice if you tilt your hip back or you tend to round the spine. Maybe you do both, tilt it back, maybe round it to feel both kind of where you don't want to go, edges of this continuum scale, I'm thinking. And find the middle part where you feel your spine is straight, your core is engaged. From there, extend both legs, fold forward. Left leg up. Bring the foot down, pivot it, rise into warrior two. You might want to assist yourself by again bringing this knee gently over the ankle if it drops in. Belly button in. As you lean forward, doesn't have to be a whole lot, but just a little bit. Keep the legs where they are as you slowly lean back. Warrior two. Hands together in prayer in front of your chest, noticing that your shoulders, you might bring both hands up on your shoulders and bring them back. See if they're aligned with the long end of the mat. And now you turn your shoulders towards the short end of the mat. Maybe they don't just go halfway. Don't force anything that's not good for your spine. Keeping left leg where it is, so the back leg, the hip is not going to move forward. You're going to try to keep the hip aligned with the long end of the mat. Slowly lean forward. Hands down on the mat, heel off, plank. In whatever way you can bring the foot back. Inhale, go to your down dog or lower down, exhale. Inhale, cobra or your up dog where the hip is off. Exhale, down dog. moving with the breath. Jump or walk to the top of the mat. Fold forward. Belly button in, rise, high mountain. Exhale, chair. Inhale, bring the arms back. Exhale to the front and fold forward. Inhale, right leg up. Try to lift it slowly, maybe up, aligned with the floor before you open up the hip. Exhale, lower down for the warrior two. Just make yourself as wide as you like. Belly button in, inhale. Lean forward, exhale. Keeping the arms nice and long. Inhale, rise. Lean back, exhale. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, hands into prayer. Noticing your spine, hip in. Inhale, slowly lean to the front. And as you bring your shoulders to the short end of the mat, you might again take a look at the front knee if it drops in. Exhaling. Inhale, prepare your plank. If it fits, exhale, lower down, shoulders in front of your fingers. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, down dog. Take a breath, soften your shoulders, micro bend those knees most likely. To the front. However you get there. Fold forward. Rise again, inhale. Chair, exhale. Keep the spine steady and still. Inhale, arms behind you. Exhale, fold forward. Left leg, bring it up. Lower down for that warrior two. Exhale. Inhale, prepare and get to your warrior two. Maybe bring that hand to the knee if you need to every time. Belly button in, inhale. Lean forward, exhale. Other way, inhale. Exhale. Bring your hands slowly into prayer as you do your next exhale. Rotation, inhale. Shoulders to the front of the mat, let the hips stay. Exhale. After this next vinyasa, plank, low plank, all that, we're gonna slow down. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower down. Push through the arms, reach up, and maybe you find child's pose. Arms can stay where they are, or just bring them down by your side, whatever works for you. Sigh out if you like it. You can bring your awareness back to the story. Maybe attach the story to how you handle conflicts. Do you do what feels natural to you in a conflict situation where you're arguing with somebody? Are you bringing just the old patterns to the new situation? Maybe it's fighting the person you're arguing with. Maybe it's self-blaming. Maybe you just shy away, don't go into it. Maybe in conflict situations, there are new patterns, new solutions that you need. Maybe pray God for help. Bring your hands to the front end of the mat. And as always, you're welcome to pause the video if there's just an idea, something that kind of just hit you, hit home, right? You can always pause and write it down and then come back to the practice. That's the beauty of videos. All right, tabletop. If you know you're going to use the strap for connecting the arms behind you, you can bring that strap somewhat nearby you. Find a tabletop, and of course you can stay here, bring the belly button in, or you can create a little bit more strength in your thigh by taking the knees off the mat and stay hovering with the knees, pushing the fingertips down. Have this long spine, breathing into your chest. And now we have slowed things down. Your gaze will be down in front of your fingers, but in between your fingers, so you have this long neck. They're not dropping down. One more breath. It's okay to be shaking. And then you can bring your hips up and back, and you might do a short variation of downward facing dog, but that's all okay for now because we won't stay here. Bring the right leg up and right leg to the top of the mat, high lunge. You might bring your strap, maybe not. I'm gonna bring it to show you how to use it. But first, high lunge. Bring your hands to your hip. And again, you might want to move the pelvis slightly in under yourself, even though it might mean that the back leg has to be a little bit bent there at the back. And then you can bring your arms up overhead with the strap if you want it. Right leg is in front, strap in your left hand. Bring it, the arm with the strap, behind you so it follows the direction of the spine, and then the back arm reaches and hold onto the strap. Of course, if you don't need the strap, just hold onto your fingers, whatever works. As you stay here, you stay in your posture, notice that this front shoulder is not dipping forward. You want to bring it slightly back, and this elbow is not here, it's up towards the sky. You can stay here. If you want a little bit more, try to notice what happens if you lean forward, really pushing the front foot down into the mat. One more breath. Rise up. Keep the strap in the left hand, back hand, as you move into your warrior two. Again, front knee over ankle. Gaze towards the front hand, or maybe you take your finger to your nose button and bring the nose slightly in so your head is not in this forward carriage, but in with those charming double cheeks, right? Stay here and breathe. From this, we're going to go into our binding or variations thereof. So you're going to bring the front hand down on the floor if you possibly can. Before you use the strap, take this top shoulder and bring it up. Okay, move the shoulder joint up and maybe the arm up. You can stay here, then the strap won't be necessary. But you can also bend this top elbow again, bring the shoulder up and back, and see where the strap is behind my knee as best as possible. Take a hold of the strap. Move the shoulders on top of each other so that they're in direction of the short end of the mat. Of course, the hands can hold on too. Breathe. If it's hard, you're creating new patterns of strength in your body. Beautiful. One more breath. Let it go. Bring the strap down, back heel off, step back. Find your plank on your elbows. So come down, hands in front. Don't grasp the hands. Let the arm follow the long end of the mat. And you might move, if you're on your toes, a little bit forward and back here. Noticing where your hip is. A little bit hard to use self-assist here, but you can use your gaze. So looking, where's your hip? Is it up here? Or is it hovering over the floor too low? Or is it somewhat aligned with your shoulders if you're in your elbow plank? Bring your knees down. toenails on the floor, hands down behind your hip. Lift then the chest, sternum away from the mat. You can lift your hands as well, the feet as well. Take a few breaths here. Can you lift your hands just slightly higher? Maybe your knees as well, off the mat. Two more breaths. Slowly release, stack the hands on top of each other, forehead on those hands. Are there other times in your life where you tend to use old answers, old patterns that doesn't really work anymore into situations? It can be in your job, it can be in relationship with your family, kids. Ask the Holy Spirit or God, Jesus, for guidance and wisdom. Tuck the toes. Bring your hands by the shoulders again. Slowly lift up into your down dog. And if you don't like that a whole lot, tabletop is your solution. But let me guide you through down dog just to bring more awareness into it. So those hands pretty wide. Okay, pinky finger to the edge of the mat. Look at your elbows. Bend them. Bring this soft part of the elbow in towards each other, not forward as sometimes hear somebody say. Bring it in so you have this slight bend in your elbow. Bring the shoulders away from the ears so you feel this engagement behind your shoulder blades. Soften or maybe hyper bend your knee a little bit so that you can lift the hip up and back, create that length from the crown of the head to the tailbone. With that, you might extend your legs to some degree. So typically ear and arm will be aligned. One more breath. Left leg to the top of the mat. I like my swing leg, I say, to the top. If you want to use the strap for these two binds, go ahead and grab it. It will stay in your right hand this time, sorry. But first, your high lunge. Again, you might bring your hands to your hip for that self-assist. If you tend to always pull the pelvis slightly back, sink down. Strap in your right hand, bring it behind if you're using it, or let the fingers meet. Shoulders back, right elbow up towards the sky. Notice the quality of your breath. And you're welcome to lean forward to feel the front thigh, even the glute on the front leg a little bit more. 2 more breaths. Release that. I would extend the front leg before I move into Warrior 2. Again, bend the front knee Maybe you take a look at the back thigh. Maybe you bring your hands into the knee joint. Just sense what that micro bend feels like to create those new patterns you might want to find. And then warrior two. Lean forward. You have the strap in the back hand if you're using it. Front hand down on the floor or on a block if you prefer. Top hand, maybe bring it to the shoulders to move the shoulder back as you bend the arm there. Bring it behind you. Take a hold with or without the strap. Shoulders on top of each other as best as possible. And breathe. Release. Bring your hands down to the mat. Back heel off. Step back, down dog. Option of vinyasa if you like. Almost there, ready for those deeper stretches. Right foot to the front. Or if it works better to do the other foot, because we're going to go into a wide stance, you can definitely just turn the other way around. For me, this works best. Bring the strap, or you could just take a hold of your hands. But you're going to bring the strap behind you, the pinky finger towards each other. Before you do anything else, don't do what you just normally do. Take a look at your feet. Are they slightly turned inward? Maybe you're used to having them out. If you are, try to turn them in and maybe go a little bit wider, maybe a little bit shorter if you're used to going super wide. Take a hold of the strap, however distance you like, between the hands, and then slowly fold forward. Bring the arms heavy behind your head and let gravity pull the hands down. Sense what's going on in the back of your leg. Maybe you lean yourself a little bit more to the front of the foot without dropping to your forehead. Relax the shoulders. Slowly bend your knees, bring the hands behind you and let go of the strap. I bring my hands to the floor because I can reach, and then I kind of walk my feet a little bit closer towards each other. So the toes this time are turning out, horse stance. It can be pretty high, hands in prayer, or lower if you want to get into your thighs. But try to bring self-assist your hands to the inside of the thigh because they tend to drop in, and move them out so that the kneecap is aligned with the toes, both feet, both knees. Here we want to connect to the pelvic floor, if you can find it. See if you can connect to the thighs, the glutes here on the side. You can kind of pull them in towards each other. Stay and breathe. And then slowly extend both legs. You might shake your arms. Keep the feet where they are. We kind of try to move into half moon without sequencing, so just one on the left, one on the right. So I'm mirroring you again. So you're gonna stay on your right foot. Slowly lift the left foot off. I'm gonna slow motion you into this. Let the feet still point out to the side, half moon. And you might stay here, wobbly as best as we can, or you can see if you can lift this left leg a little bit higher up, stacking the hips, hovering maybe as you lean your spine further towards the floor so the spine becomes somewhat aligned with the floor. Lots of balance here. And this is hard, so don't shoot yourself down if it's hard, okay? 2 more breaths. Slowly lower down. Ooh, bring the foot, turn it out. Other side. If it's too hard, you can always find the floor with the fingers there, no worries. But we're gonna move slow and mindful. Now it's right legs turn to lift. Stacking the hips, bring the arm up overhead. Gaze on the floor. That would be my advice. And breathe a lot. Lift the left leg, stay with it, even though you might be wobbly and can't keep the shape. New patterns also for balancing in this half moon, hovering half moon. Slowly release that. And you can shake, dance, jump. Great job. Turn towards the short end of the mat, pigeon pose. Depending on where you are, we're gonna bring our hands down and bring the right foot, or rather the right leg, on the mat. Try to keep the shin so aligned with the short end of the mat as you possibly can. Right knee has to stay out to the right side of the mat. You're not resting on your knee joint if you can avoid it. Rather than pulling this shin forward, kind of wiggle your way back. And you can stay here with your hands on top, point the toe, or you can lower down. Stay here if you feel like, this is not working for my knees. Option off. I call it reversed pigeon here. Right knee out to the side. Soften everything. Bring the shoulders away from the ears. Accept the stretch that you most likely feel in your right outer hip. With the story, I'm also thinking about spiritual habits or patterns that we might have had for a very long time, or maybe haven't had. Moving to the other side slowly. Hands down. I like down dog after this. So slowly bring the foot back, the leg back. Left leg. And I like to point my toe so there's room for the knee to move a little bit as I might come down here. Don't worry if you can't come all the way down. You might be hovering with your hip like me, maybe not. Again, avoid resting on your knee joint. Spiritual patterns, that might be if you have experienced something new in your faith spiritual journey. You might need to change some patterns. Maybe you need to talk to somebody about your doubts. Maybe you need to try to read the Bible for yourself without somebody always reading it for you in church. If you haven't prayed before, maybe your next step would be trying to pray. For others, it might be sharing their faith. Sharing your faith in your workplace, with your neighbors, in your gym. Slowly move your body to the left hip and see if you can make your way into a somewhat comfortable seat. Feet and legs rather in front of you. Staff pose, so bring the feet up. Sit super tall if at all possible, and then try to bring your hands up overhead, palms together. And this time, lift the shoulders up towards the ears. So you create as much length as you possibly can from the sitting bones to your fingertips. How long can you be? And then slowly bring the shoulder blades down. Keep your eyes closed. Bring the shoulder blades down. Don't bend the elbows yet. Relax the top part of the shoulders and neck. How far down can you get your shoulders without moving your elbows or your fingers? And then slowly bring your hands down by the side. Bring the right sole of the foot to the inside of the left leg. I like to bring my leg a little bit out to the side, so I'll encourage you to do the same. So you're seated like me. Whatever direction on the mat you are, it doesn't matter. You're going to turn, you're going to do a side bend. So you're going to take a hold of your shoulders, both hands. Turn your shoulders in the direction of your right bent knee. So you sit in this awkward position. You won't sit here for too long though. Let go of your left hand and bring it down, maybe on the knee, maybe on the further of the inside. But keep this right hand on your shoulder, moving it kind of back and up as you lean forward. So the shoulder doesn't drop in, holding up. And when you're as much down as you can in this side bend, you might want to let go of that shoulder, but keep it where there it is. And extend the arm up overhead. I feel this a whole lot just here on my right back side body. One more breath. Lift up. Oh. Move it around. Sitting bones on the mat. If that's not accessible, you can always fold a couple of layers on the mat and see how that goes. No need to actually pull the heel all the way into the hip. Take a hold of your shoulders again. Rotate in the direction of the bent knee. Your right hand will come down on the inside there to kind of push a bit in. top shoulder up and back as you glide, so to say, over to your right leg. Breathe, and maybe let go of the shoulder if you know it stays, not if it drops down, so your hand is in front of your head. Breathe deeply. And one last thing here, is there anything with these changes in patterns? It can be in conflict situations, other situations in your life, family, workplace, or maybe spiritual patterns that you want to change because they don't fit anymore. You have this new wine, but you might put it in the old wineskin. Now it's time to change. Lift up. Find resting pose. And if you happen to have a strap, it's really nice to use that right now. Kind of stretch the hamstrings, the back of the leg, so you can put your right leg into your strap. I like rolling the strap around my wrist, or my palm rather, and kind of just create the stretch by the heaviness of my arms. I'm not pulling, I'm just kind of holding gently. If your leg is shaking or it's painful, do a little bit less. Option of extending the left leg all the way halfway out. Release. Bring the right foot down. Take a hold of the left. And of course you just hold on to your knee or your calf or your toes if you don't have a strap nearby. Do what you need to do with your right leg. Then you can release that and find your resting pose. Always use any bolster, blocks, blankets that you like. It could be underneath your knees or your heels, your head. But if you're good, just relax everything. Make sure that the feet drops out to each side. Your hands will rest on the floor with the palms facing up. And maybe you kind of shrug the shoulders a little bit down towards the feet before you then let go and let them drop down towards the mat. So you sense that they're not pulled up towards your ears. We'll rest here for a couple of minutes, and you're always welcome to stay longer. And I will pray, and you can always listen or pray along as you can. God, show me if there are unhealthy patterns that needs to be changed. Show me if I am like the people Jesus was talking to, the Pharisees, following spiritual rules in order to gain your favor. Help me not to follow rules as the majority or the main thing, but follow you in a relationship with you. Because you know my heart, and I want to know your heart. Let me walk in the patterns that you have for me. Amen. If you know you need to rest a little bit longer, just stay down. If you're ready to move, wiggle your fingers, wrists, ankles, everything. Take a big morning stretch, arm up overhead. Open your eyes. Roll onto whatever side makes sense to you, and then take a seat. From my heart to yours, thank you for following along, and may you have wisdom to find the patterns, the new patterns that yet you need to. From my heart to yours, thank you.